Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's me, Tim Keys, and I'm back with a slightly different setup. But I'm here today. I wanted to talk about Image Line and I guess the short situation, interesting situation, if you will, that's been happening with Image Line. Nothing major, nothing over the top. Now, if you don't know about Image Line is the company that is responsible for FL Studio. FL Studio has a reputation of being one of the more popular dolls out there, if not the most popular doll. It has a huge user base, and there are a lot of people who swear by FL Studios being the best doll. I have, yeah, I know children who use FL Studio and they love it just because of the workflow and its ease of use in certain areas, mainly the piano roll and the sequencer. Um, it's one of the dolls that was made by non musicians for non musicians in order to access it. And I mean, there are a lot of perks in FL Studio. Um, One of those being the lifetime free updates. Let me get out of here. Um, yeah, the lifetime free updates and so forth. But unfortunately, with all of the pros of an FL Studio, there are some cons, like any DAW for that matter. Any DAW has its drawbacks, its weaknesses, and so forth. Some DAWs are more feature rich, but they may be more expensive to purchase or more expensive to update. Some DAWs may, do a decent job of providing you with good sounds, but the features may be lacking in certain areas or the update cycles may not be as great. FL Studio and Image Line, they kind of have their own weaknesses, and it primarily comes in the form of how they enforce their anti pirating policy. Now, don't get me wrong, I am all for, like, a company has any right to, enforce its policy how it pleases. Like, that's the benefit of when you own a company and you put out intellectual property, you set the terms of usage in regards to how you want people to utilize your IP. And if somebody misuses your IP based on, the terms that you have set up, I mean, at that point, you have a right to come after the folks and, kind of like handle your business. So it's understood. However, there's been a situation in the last couple of days where some people may say Image Line took things a little too far. I found this post a few days ago, and it says, this is from Twitter or now X. It says, "Y'all want to see a dead body?" And you know, somebody said, basically, I don't want to risk losing my account, but the download is at blah 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 blah. I don't know. So I won't go into all of this right here, but apparently somebody decided that they would put up a link to FL Studio and like the bootleg edition, basically like the crack version. I hope I didn't do that. If I did, Image Line, I'm sorry. But yeah, it was like a whole thing, and so somebody decided to take links to torrent software and basically just put it up on Twitter and was just like, "Hey, here you go. Anybody can get FL Studio for free. Just click on this link right here." And obviously, Image Line was not pleased. I would like again. I won't go into all of this stuff because I'm not trying to get in trouble with Image Line. I actually use FL Studio and I thoroughly enjoy it. I'll get back to that in a moment. But unfortunately, like FL Studio stepped in and was like, "Hey, us taking down the contents of your page and the links that you put up is the least of your worries." And apparently, the gentleman, I can't remember the name, Igloo, LMAO, whatever. Apparently, all of their content has been taken down from Image Line, and so you know Image Line is standing on business when it comes to enforcing, the terms of how you use their products. And, I don't blame them. Now, some people may agree or disagree that, you know, hey, you shouldn't be pirating software. I'm on the terms of use for right now. I'll go back to that page. But, some people may agree or disagree about using, not using how ImageLine is going about handling the situation. Again, ImageLine has the right to enforce their IP however they choose. And so you got to keep that in mind with any company when you buy their product. Now, to be fair, ImageLine, like my word, you can get FL Studio for $100, like, and you can do most things with the exception of like record audio into the DAW, but you'll get a handful of instruments and different sounds and effects, and get started for $100. You can't really beat that, in my opinion. If we're talking about paid DAWs, I mean, Ableton also has their intro version of the software is $100. So I mean, there are other DAWs that have similar pricing, but my point is, you can spend $100 and get the entry level of the DAW. So, and then like to get like the full version, which is what most people get, you can pay at this point, unless it's just on sale. It's like $179. It used to be $200, but now like I don't know if there's a temporary sale going on, but for $179, you can get FL Studio. You can get the Signature Bundle, which is really good, for $269, and then the All Plugins Edition for $449. And that's like, it has everything included. So keeping that in perspective with something like an Ableton, where Ableton is, $99 for the entry, and then for the standard version, $450 to $500, and then for the Suite edition, you're going to pay anywhere from $750 to about $850. And then you don't have lifetime free updates with something like Ableton. Like, this is a pretty good deal. Like, this is one of the only DAWs I can think of. Maybe Logic. I'm not 100% sure, but this is one of the few DAWs that will give you lifetime free updates. So once you buy whatever version of the DAW you get, this is the most popular version. You pay $179 or $200 for it. It's yours, until they go under. But every time they do an upgrade, any update and any upgrade they do, you get to keep that. And then here's the other side. I kind of want to throw this out. Just put this out there. You can always use the free trial. It's unlimited. Unlimited. So anybody can download FL Studio and play with the DAW. And they say the installer supports both licensed and trial users. The trial users can choose to test Fruity Producer, Signature, or all plugins bundle at the startup or update to the latest trial at any time. What are the limitations? Let's look at the limitations. So, the FL Studio trial is equivalent to the edition you select at startup. So if you use FL Studio on free trial, some key points: project saving. You can save your projects in the trial. Project reopening. You cannot reopen the project. So you can save the project. The only B-sides is you cannot reopen it once you save it. Now, the point of that is because somebody say, well, why can't you do that? A, they want you to buy the product. But B, they're thinking like, well, if you like it and you make a couple songs on it, you go ahead and pay the $200. You spend the money and you can reopen it, and then you'll have all your stuff. Because maybe you want to do that. The other thing is too, so there's some plugin limitations depending on which one you get. And so, if you, let's say, play with one of the like more feature rich synths like Morphine or something like that, you know, once you close out, you won't be able to open it. That'll disappear, and they'll have like a placeholder replacement until you pay for the plugin. But all other functions of FL Studio are fully unlocked. It is the equivalent of the Signature Bundle plus plus all plugins. You can render WAV, MP3, OGG, or MIDI files prior to saving the project. So, like, let's say you got a song and you cook up some loops or something and you're really like enjoying it. They'll let you render what you got to a waveform or MP3. Like, they allow you to do this. So I think that's a very good deal, and it's for an unlimited time. So you can you can download FL Studio, play with the demo for unlimited time, and like you're good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're good. You can just play with the DAW, and then like get used to how it feels. They're not going to charge you for it. They're not going to be like some companies do like a 30-day trial, and then after that, that's it. You either have to buy it, or like they go into like a dead mode, or it doesn't work anymore. Like, the DAW will no longer function until you pay for it. What FL Studio does is they say, hey, like, we'll let you use our stuff for an unlimited time frame, and then you just have to render the files. I think Ableton at this point, they do a 30-day trial, and you have all the features available, including like saving and whatnot, for 30 days. But once that 30 days is over, you can play in the DAW, but beyond that, you can't save anything. You can't open any new files. You can't even render in Ableton. So putting that in perspective, I think FL Studio is still a pretty good DAW, especially the lifetime free updates and the fact that you get to use the DAW indiscriminately while you're in demo mode. So I just want to throw that out there. But let me talk about this real quick, these terms of use, because this is something that you have to be mindful of. And I know, like, on one end we can say like, hey, I'm not here to, like, we can debate on how ImageLine treated the person who did the stuff, but in the same token, why would you, as a user of their product, why would you not only crack the software, that's one thing, but you cracked the software and posted it on public forum with thousands of users so they could just go and download it? Like, that's crazy. Like, don't do that. But here's the terms that they say, that they hold you to. And you got to be mindful of this. This is their EULA. By downloading, installing, and using the products, or registering and making the use of the website, web shop, or explicitly accepting the terms, you indicate you've read, understood, and agree to be legally bound to it. So if you download or install this stuff, you are bound to the terms that's set before you here. And it also says, like, you renounce the application of your own terms and conditions. In other words, you can't use this how you want to. When you download this product, they're going to tell you how you are going to use it, and you are going to fall in line. And if you don't, there are consequences. They have all of the definitions to spell out for you. That way, there is no misunderstanding. So be careful of that when you're doing this stuff. When you're downloading stuff, you got to be mindful of what you're getting into. And they tell you everything up front, because on their end, they don't want there to be any misunderstanding, if something happens. Now, I want to go right here, providing products, orders through the web shop, payment, blah, blah, refund policy. If they got one, that's cool. I'm going to skip. Try it before you buy. These allow you to blah, 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 fully functional. I'm not going into all that. Right of withdrawal. All right. They have the right to withdraw, cancel the order, cancel the agreement without stating the reason within a period of 14 days. So if you don't like the product in 14 days, you can get your money back if you request a refund. I'm assuming. Here's restrictions of the use. User shall not give permission to duplicate, rent, lease, alter, modify, translate, reverse engineer, decompile, disassemble, create derivative works from the products, make access to the product available to others in connection with a service bureau, application service provider, or similar business, export, re-export the products either directly or indirectly without prior written consent image line and without the required export license, nor shall the user give anyone permission to download the product. So in other words, if I got FL Studio on my computer, that's my paid version, I cannot give it to my homeboys or my friends or any of that. I will be in trouble. Can't do that. I cannot crack FL Studio and then release it. I cannot modify the code in FL Studio and then release it and create a derivative work. That's more on that later. Reverse engineer. This is kind of a big one right here. Just this one right here. So again, I'm not saying if you agree or disagree. I'm saying this is what you need to be mindful of when you buy these people's products. Users shall not resell, lend, or give transfer any image line software, license, registration key, unlock code, image line accounts, or use any other mechanism, including making or using cracked versions of the software that grants a person other than a user access to and use of the software, service, product that is subject to this agreement. So, again, what this means is if I got the license, I cannot give somebody else my license so they can, have their own stuff on my computer or make a cracked version or use it. Like, again, these two, can't do it. I don't know why I can't scroll up, but these two, those are big no-nos. If you do that, you will have problems. And ImageLine is very aggressive about enforcing their policy. So you got to be careful. I don't know how much they enforce this one. Trial versions or demo versions. In the event the user's version of the software is a trial or demo, the user's use of the software is limited to personal use only. The user is expressly forbidden to use user projects, audio, and video created with such a demo version of the software for commercial purposes, both for or not for profit. So now this one, I'm like, man, that's kind of brutal. I imagine like they're a little bit more lenient, especially when you consider the fact there's so many producers who've kind of gotten big by using the demo version. And in some cases, they used the crack version, made a hit, got a couple hits off of it, and then said, yo, I'm going to buy it. And unfortunately, in that case, that's a tricky one because it's like, you don't know if it's good until like you make your first hit. But again, under their use, their terms of agreement, you can use the demo for personal use. You cannot use the demo, like anything you make off the demo, you, under their terms, they don't want you to be selling your songs or using it for profit or non-profit for commercial purposes. Notwithstanding any foregoing provisions, should the user not comply with this obligation, ImageLine will have full ownership of these projects and therefore is entitled to all revenue generated by this commercial use, while the user will remain bound by all the obligations set out in the terms of use. In order to make this enforceable, the user will hand over user's bookkeeping controls to ImageLine on simple requests. So, like, the reason I point these three out, because I've seen some of this stuff on the internet the past couple of days, and from other folks on the internet space, and everybody kind of has their opinion, and it's cool to have an opinion. I don't want no smoke from Image Line. Please don't try to jack up my account because I'm a proud paying customer, and I generally like your DAW, and I tell my students to buy your stuff. But you know, that company has the right to enforce their stuff however they choose to. So that's their terms of agreement. I think, in light of the fact that they give you a lifetime updates, it's one of the easiest DAWs to access. You pay once and it's yours forever, with updates and major upgrades being free for the user. In my opinion, you can't really hate off of that. You can't really fault them for having the other extreme. I would also say, again, you can use the demo to export your works and all of that stuff for, personal use. And they're going to give you an unlimited time for using the demo. So once you download and open it up, you can export and save and do things as you like. But they do have their limitations. Now, I know that there have been some content creators in the past who violated aspects of these policies, and in some cases, Image Line has been lenient. There was a gentleman back in 2018. I won't put his name out on blast, but yeah, he openly admitted on his channel that he got his hand caught in a cookie jar. I think it was, yeah, I'll put his name out there, and I don't think he would mind. It was Curtis King. He had I think at one point, a cracked version of the software, and he was using it, and I think they gave him a warning to rectify the situation. And then, like a couple months later, down the road, or maybe a year or so later down the road, he made a course with their product. And then it was like, hey, man, we noticed, you haven't rectified the situation. The product that you got on your screen is not yours. And they took his stuff down. They have every right to do that because, again, you've been using the product, you haven't paid for it, and you're making money off of it. That's their decision. And I think in Curtis King's case, he did right by the folks. He, he wouldn't apologize and, sent them an email and said, hey, man, look, I didn't mean any trouble, yada, yada, yada. And was very sincere, and then brought the DAW. And he was good to go. So in his case, he was okay. And they could have turned around if they wanted to. They could have, if they were really hyper aggressive, they could have pulled his whole catalog because he's a FL Studio user. But they didn't go that far. They took his course down, and, once he paid for the product, they let him put his course back up. So, I mean, I see both sides. And, yeah, I mean, again, I just see both sides. It's kind of wild. But they were able to, move forward, and I think they have a decent relationship now for the most part. So, I mean, I don't think you can fault Image Line. I think if the shoe was on the other foot, right? Because some of us would say, well, yeah, I got a right to pirate and crack software. But for those of us who are serious about making music, if somebody took your music and just pulled it, all that hard work that you put into to making that song or those songs, the next thing you know, you found those somewhere else under a different library, which that does happen. And then people are making money off of that and you're not getting paid, especially if lots of money is being generated and you're not being credited for it. I guarantee you would feel a certain way. It is what it is. Most of you who are saying well, I got a right to pirate, that's cool. I'm not saying do or don't. I'm saying if the shoe was on the other foot, you probably would feel some kind of way if you were making a product that you put your work and your time into it, and then somebody else came along and took that product, made money off of it, and didn't credit you for your work in music. They took your loops, they took your beats, they took your whole song, sent it out, got paid $5,000 for it, and that was $5,000 that should have been your money, but unfortunately went in somebody else's pockets. you would be upset, unless you're not really selling music like that. So there's the thing. The other side of this too, I just want to throw out, like, there are so many free dolls available these days that it doesn't make sense to steal. Like, you could have, I get it, like everybody's broke per se. And at one point you could have justified, like, well, yeah, man, I don't have no money. I want to make music too. But it's like, you have so many free alternatives now. You have an MPC Beats that's free. You have a Ableton Light. Let's go here and look. That's free. Ableton Light. It's like the free version. It's the free version. It usually comes with many hardware products for free. Look, 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 look. I'm not going to put it on mine. Mine is already tied up to my account, but it's free. Let's see. Is Sonar still free? Let me see. Let me type in Cakewalk. Is it still free? It might not be free anymore because I know they have some changes come up. Um, so it might not be free. But it used to be free. I know I got it on my old computer. Let's keep going. Waveform, free. Free editing software. Waveform is free. And you get all the features, not all the features, but you get VST, VST3 support, AU plugins. You can expand it. So, like, again, long gone are the days where, the gates were so high that nobody could access music unless you had lots of money. I mean, you it's still not like free. Like, you need some things, but it's like, I'm just going through BandLab. You could get a free account, play with BandLab. I think I got BandLab on my phone. I never use it, but it's free. Like, let's do a few more. This is cloud-based. Soundtrap. So if you have a trash computer, part of my cavalier expression, but if your computer is not the best when it comes to specs and performance, you can get a free account and use Soundtrap for free. Get started for free. For free. So the argument that, let's do one more. Best cloud, oh my word. There we go. Best cloud-based software. So let me do that again. DAW. Let's see. Because there are quite a few. I might have to come back and do just a separate video on, like, your cloud-based DAW. This is not the same website, but this is similar. Amped Studio. Free version and a premium version. Amp Studio. I've seen Amp Studio. Audio Tool. Let's see. There's one more. I'm being petty at this point. Luna DAW. Is it free? Let me put that in. Is it freemium? I thought it was free. Luna is free to all Mac and Windows users. No UA required. Oh my gosh, it's free. Now, I don't know how well it works, but again, it's free. So for a lot of folks who, we used to be able to use this argument, right? Like, I don't have any money. Therefore, if I want to get my foot in the door, I got to pirate stuff. And it's like, I mean, you can. I don't think you should. But at this point, you don't need to. There's so much free stuff. Luna free. Let me see. Pro Tools free version. Let's see. Meet the new free Pro Tools. Oh my gosh. I mean, Pro Tools is a byword in terms of like music production. I'm gonna decline on these cookies because I don't want them. But like Pro Tools, you get the Pro Tools free. Meet the new free Pro Tools intro software. I don't know what the limitations are, but I do know what the strengths are. Like you can use Pro Tools and it'll make any of your stuff sound good. So once you finish with the beat making process, let's say you use something like MPC Beats, and then you mix it out or whatever, you bounce it out, you can take the stuff and mix it in Pro Tools, the free version. Let's see, let's do a couple more. Harrison Mix Bus free. Is Harrison free? Harrison Mixbox is also free Libre software, except for the Mixer Strip DSP, which is provided by closed source proprietary plugin. So you can kind of mess with this on the cheap end. There's also Reaper, which is not free, but they don't come at you super duper hard if you don't buy the software outright. And I can't think of the other one, but there's so many now. Like that's the point. I just got to put that out there. Like, and maybe I need to do like a video talking about the best free software again for what's happening right now this year, because a lot of people don't know. Here it is, one more LMMS, the bootleg version of FL Studio, like the true alternative to FL Studio. LMMS. I don't know the pros and cons, but it's supposed to be very, very similar to FL Studio. 16 built-in synthesizers, including emulations of Roland, Commodore, N64, Game Boy, Yamaha, that's pretty cool, and more. Polyphonic, multi-timbral, multi-voice additive, subtractive, and pad synthesis. I might have to check that one out again. Native multi-sample support for Soundfont, Giga, and Gravis Ultra Sound. So, I mean, like, there's stuff out here now. Drop-in VST effect, plug-in support for Linux and Windows. So, like, if you're broke in 2020 and you just want to get your foot in the door with music production, you can totally do that. Like, you don't have the same need. The other side too is like, if you're serious about your music and you're trying to make this a business or whatnot, and be a music producer, at some point you kind of got to make some sacrifices, right? And if you could spend like a whole bunch of money on your cell phone or a whole bunch of money of your wardrobe, and then you got to pirate the software, like maybe your priorities is in the wrong space. The other thing too is, all things are not meant for all people at all times, which is a bummer, right? But like, there's this sense of entitlement where we feel like, hey, I want this, so I need it now. And it doesn't work like that. So, yeah, man, say what you will, but, that is the situation at hand. ImageLine decided to crack down hard on a user that decided to share some torrent links on his Twitter page, and some people are hot about it. I do think it was kind of gangster the way they went about it, but I understand it, And for some of those, I will say this: nah, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna keep that offline, unless somebody comes for me. If you come for me in the comment section and can't keep it respectful, then that's a different story. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think ImageLine went overboard with this situation? Or do you think like they were just? I don't want to hear about if you crack software. If you don't, that's your business. What do you think about this situation? And let me know if you want me to do a video talking about free DAWs, both ones that you download and cloud-based software that you can use for music production. I'm Tim Keys. I'm out. Peace.